Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda, and this is a vlog of my late autism and ADHD diagnosis experience. Well, I'm 45 now. Welcome to 45. And I'm not upset about aging. I am and I'm not, right? There are some people who've always been wary of immortality. The thought of living forever is way overwhelming for them. I've always been the person who was like, oh, I would love to live forever. Not really, because literal immortality probably would get pretty boring. But I've always had this duality of one, just really loving technology and seeing where we're going, but I also love going back to basics and knowing how to knit and make homemade foods and sew your own clothes. And I've never really been into gardening, but I love the idea of gardening. I just don't, sensory wise, I don't like dirt in my hands. But I'm always wanting the latest technology. The idea of space exploration is fascinating to me, and I want to see where we get to. I want to see what humanity is capable of. So on one hand, I feel our time here on Earth is so incredibly short, but in a really real, besides the fancy of that, and because if I was gonna live forever, I'd want to be in a healthier body that didn't hurt all the time. But that all aside, I'm not worried about aging like a lot of people are. I think 45 is going to be great. I am so close to publishing my book. I actually had originally hoped that I would publish it on my birthday. I thought that would be the best way to celebrate my birthday. But then I had a very generous friend offer to read it and proofread it. And she's done proofreading and beta testing before in the past. And I couldn't afford, I spent all my money on getting an editor. So most indie authors, well, not most, a lot. There's no right way to do it. But a lot of them will pay for an editor. And then after making all those edits, then they will pay for a proofreader, because editors are human and they, make mistakes. And then while you're accepting the edits, you could possibly leave off a period, make a mistake somewhere. My medications are making my mouth so dry today. Anyway, so my editor was very expensive, but worth it. So I did not have a budget for a proofreader. So when I wasn't going to go through the proofreading stage, I was just going to take the hits when people left comments and saying, you left a period off on page 54, Anyway, but then, my friend offered to do this. And so I was like, yeah, that would be awesome. Well, because she's doing it for free. I obviously will do something nice for her, but the timeline is a little iffy. So when she said she would do it, I did try to clarify and say, hey, will you be able to do this quickly? Because if you can't, then I need to know that, because I may just go ahead and say, thank you for the offer, no. And she said and assured me that yes, she would be able to read through it and go through it quickly. We didn't define what quickly meant. But for me, that meant kind of working on it, progress a little bit at a time. And so with my editor, I sent off the book and I didn't touch it in Google Docs. And then when she was done with it, I got the whole book back. With my friend here, I'm kind of trailing behind her. So as she's also suggesting a little bit of tweaks here and there. And she has caught a couple of punctuation issues. Like I said, they do happen. So I'm kind of following along on her progress. Well, then she got sick. It's winter. It happens. And she also has a life and a big family and other responsibilities. And so it's been a couple weeks since she's touched my book. And so I'm about to be like, okay, well, thank you for the work that you have done on it. I really appreciate it. She got through the first couple chapters. And then, tell her I'm ready to move on because I am, I want to publish my book. But I also, appreciate her offer and the suggestions and the things that she has caught do make it for a better book. But I just need to touch base with her again. And those kinds of conversations are hard because she's doing me a favor. I don't want to make her feel like she's rushed. But on the other hand, I want to publish this book for y'all. I'm so excited. And for any of y'all who haven't been around and haven't heard, it's about an autistic ADHD librarian who meets a vampire on TikTok. And at first, of course, she does not realize he's a real vampire. She thinks that he's an actor playing the part of a vampire on TikTok. And it is just a fun, warm-hearted romance that has disability and queer affirming characters. And it was a delight to write, and I fell in love with my characters, and I just can't wait to share them with the world. But it didn't get published on my birthday like I had hoped, so it'll be published. I'll be a published author at 45 because I'm going to make it work this next year, hopefully soon. And I have started writing a book too, not a sequel. This is a whole separate book, nothing to do with the first book. This one's going to take a lot longer to write though, just because of the nature of how I'm doing it. So no details on the second book yet. Let's get the first one out. Anyway, the thing about my birthday, and I've spent many weeks in therapy over the years talking about it. And every year I chip a little bit more and more away about why my birthday causes me so much stress. I started my last therapy session because my birthday was last Wednesday. And I started I had therapy Thursday morning. And I started it off and I'm like, I am so sick of being upset about my birthday. But just because I am over my own self, doesn't mean that my emotions and my brain don't get depressed. I'm like, hey, I don't want to be depressed about this. I'm done. But does that work? No. That what they call it, toxic positivity. Like I used to love the quote, choose happy, choose joy. And I do think that in a lot of times in our life, we can look for the good and choose to focus on the good things in our life, which, I did try to work on around my birthday. But it's not a magic wand. Especially dealing with trauma. And that was one of the things that I just had to come to terms with, I think a year or two ago, is that I actually do have trauma around my birthday. To me, it was just even ridiculous to admit that because I always thought of trauma as the big T trauma. And the fact that little t trauma is causing me this much distress is very frustrating. But our brains, our amygdalas, they don't compare. They don't compare that my little bitty trauma is nothing compared to somebody who went through, much what society would label as a big deal, like abuse, a murder, bigger things that collectively as a society we're yeah, those are bad things. little 16-year-old who had nobody show up at her birthday party. But again, our amygdalas don't care. Our amygdalas go, nobody came to your birthday party. Nobody likes you. Nobody is your friend. You have no people in your life who care about you. And that took root and cemented itself deep into my psyche. And it comes up over and over. It's not just my birthday. My birthday, thankfully, is where my brain decided to focus all the energy. So I will have little instances of the friendship trauma come up throughout my, year. But around my birthday, my brain decides this is when we're going to really focus and process it. So for years around my birthday, I get stressed, anxious, and depressed, and it sucks. And this year I realized that I have kind of a duality going on where I just want to ignore my birthday. I want to pretend it doesn't happen. I don't acknowledge it. And at the exact same moment, two things can be true at once. It's been my mantra for the last 2 years. Because at this same exact time, because see, I think that's the trauma part of my brain, right? My traumatized brain is just forget my birthday. But the other part of my brain is I want people to see me. I want to be celebrated. I want to be recognized. I want people to reach out and care. And the problem is I've created myself as I've created a monster with this because my loved ones and my friends that do care about me, they cannot win. I have put them in a no-win situation, and I'm very aware of it, but I don't know what to do about it. Except to just acknowledge it to everybody. Say, hey guys, do whatever you want because you can't win this one. My brain has made it where you cannot support me in this right now until I can figure it out. I'm working on it, but right now, I put you in a situation where you can't win because if a friend forgets and doesn't text me on my birthday, I get sad and depressed. And if a friend does try to do something for my birthday, I get defensive or just leave me alone or I don't want to talk about it. And it's bananas. And I know that. And so it's so hard. And I tried to think about what would my perfect birthday celebration look like? And I have no answers for that because every single thing that I can think of causes me so much anxiety. And because I cannot control other people. Nobody can, right? And so the perfect birthday would be for me to invite however many people, maybe not a lot, 6 people, 5 people, I don't know, maybe 4. And that the world could guarantee me that they would all show up on my birthday for whatever the celebration was. Can't guarantee that. People get sick. People, kids get sick. People's dogs have to go to the vet. There might be an ice storm. It doesn't usually happen early in December, but it could. So because I can't guarantee that when I invite people that they will show up, I get so incredibly anxious because when they cancel, my little gremlin brain is are they really sick? Are they do they just not want to be around me on my birthday? And it's crazy. I don't like the word crazy, but it's bananas. I know people legitimately get sick, and yeah, sometimes people lie to get out of things. they'll commit to something and then for whatever reason, they're like, I can't do it later. Maybe they overcommitted. And occasionally something better does come up for somebody. And that sucks because that's what happened to me in the past, but I have no control over it. And none of us do. But because of that, it drives me crazy. And when friends cancel on me in the rest of the time of the year, it upsets me, but it doesn't trigger me as much as it does at my birthday. And I've got to just always know that things can get canceled and pushed through anyway, because I don't want to go through life not planning things, right? But there's always a fear. Whenever I plan something, I never think it's actually going to happen until I'm in the moment. I'm like, oh, this thing is happening. I'll plan for it, but my brain always has contingency plans. So for instance, I've got a friend coming to stay with me later this month, before Christmas for a couple days. And Sunday night, she texted me and said, hey, can we do a video chat on Monday? She's, she's not local. My immediate thought is, oh my God, she's canceling. She's not going to come, but she wants to tell me, she don't want to text me that she's canceling. She wants to tell me in person or video chat, which is nice. And then my grumbling brain, I'm like, okay, stop it. There's lots of reasons why she may want to video chat you. We do that fairly regularly, actually. That doesn't mean that she's about to cancel on you. And so yesterday I sat down and talked to her, and the first thing out of her mouth was so I wanted to talk about my visit when I come later this month. And I had tension just left me, and I had to tell her, I'm like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe, my CPTSD RSD brain was so sure you were going to cancel, but I was trying to tell myself that it's not true, but until she actually is here, my brain won't believe that. I'm preparing for her to be here. I hope she will. I'm certain that she does want to come. The logic part of my brain is the other part of my brain is all the RSD, if y'all don't know, is rejection sensitive dysphoria. That part is going to tell me, that she's not going to show up. So it sucks to deal with. But I can't live my life not planning things with people, because that is loneliness too. And the thing is, I know a lot of autistic people who have gotten to that point. They've gotten to the point where friends have disappointed them, or people that they have thought as friends have disappointed them so many times that I'm just having an aha moment here. Hold on. That they stop trying. And I don't fault any of y'all for that if you are in that place. Oh my gosh, where's my aha moment? What was I saying? I was saying so many times, friends, see, your brain doesn't want these aha moments because it'll try to suppress them, because it wants the status quo. Your brain doesn't want you to try to improve yourself. If you're ever struggling in therapy and your brain feels sluggish and hard, it's because it wants things to stay the same, because even if it sucks, it is known. It knows how to handle the status quo. Change is different, even for autistic people. Hold on. I'm going to pause this while I try to figure out what I was about to say. I got it. So it's a little bit of a building block on the aha moment where I had before. So, before my birthday, I realized that I'd put my friends in this no-win situation. Nothing they can do is going to, I'm sorry, my hands are so in the camera today. Ooh, ADHD. I didn't get a fidget. Okay. See, my brain is trying to distract myself from this. It is literally what it's trying to preserve itself. You can see it in action, people. Okay, I create a monster, right? My friends can't win, right? And the other self-preservation mechanism that I realized that I do is I have made it where I don't create an environment or a space for people to show up for me. I expect for friends to disappoint me. That's what's comfortable. That's what my brain knows. If I had friends who showed up for me in big ways, I don't know how I would handle it. It'd be so unprecedented. It would make me feel so overwhelmed and something like I'm right on the edge of it. Like, here's another thing though. When somebody else is on the cusp of figuring out a personal development thing, it's always harder for the person doing it, the talker. For other people watching me, for my words that I'm saying, y'all might have figured it out for me. So if you see it, because sometimes when people are struggling, it's easier as an outsider to see it. And you're like, it's right there. Say the thing. Say it. So if you can see what I'm trying to say, write it down in the comments, because like I am on the verge of this aha moment, but it hasn't like gone all the way over, if you know what I mean. Something about friends. I have created an environment, a social space to keep people at a distance, to make sure that they disappoint me and they let me down, because that's all I know. That's what's safe for my brain. I don't know how to create a life where people can be there for me, can be supportive. One thing I was thinking about the other day is, I'm on social media here, right? I'm on YouTube, I'm on Threads, kind of on Instagram, but not really, and on TikTok. And most of my friends don't follow me on social media, especially all platforms. I have one friend who I've never met in person. I met her online. And she watches a lot of my YouTube videos and a lot of my TikToks, and she'll comment. And I enjoy that from her. But I think about it sometimes, like people in my like she's a real friend, but she's like I said, I've never met her. So like people in my offline, face-to-face friends, none of them really follow me on social media. I have one friend who follows me on Instagram, but I don't really post there that much. And I've thought about that. I've thought about how if my friends were on, but see, here's the thing. None of my friends are on social media. But I always think, like, if they were, I would follow them. I'd want to support them. I'd want to know what they're up to. But they don't do that for me. But then again, they're not on social media. So is it a realistic expectation for people to download an app to watch me when they aren't on that app for any other reason? And to my brain is like, well, no, that's not a reasonable expectation. Why would anybody do that? I don't know. Maybe other people's friends do that kind of thing. I have a friend who is in community theater, and I went to go see her play. I failed this last time. She was in the second play, and I did not go to see her. I planned to, and I bought tickets, and then I had a big anxiety, like panic attack, and didn't make it to the theater. And so I understand that things, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, like things happen, and sometimes you can't, you don't, even for me, like I have expectations for other people, but can I perform those expectations back? I don't know. Anyway, that's why I want to wrap up. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed filming it. Well, it was a hard one. But I will, sorry, my dog is doing dog things. See y'all on the next one. Bye.